For those who lived through the triumphs and turmoil of the 20th century, the name Charlton Heston is more than just a name. It's an icon. We've held our breath, watching Moses part the Red Sea, joined Ben-Hur in his arduous quest for justice, and marveled at the majesty of El Cid. Each of his roles wasn't just a film. It was a vivid page of history touching the depths of the soul and recalling a golden age of cinema where true heroes reigned on screen. But have you ever wondered, behind that dazzling spotlight, who was the man Charlton Heston? Are there untold stories, unrevealed aspects of his life and character? Today, we will turn back the pages of memory together, exploring the untold truths to better understand this cinematic crusader, a hero not only on screen, but in life, a man who lived fully by the ideals he believed in. Charlton Heston, the crusader on screen and in life. Charlton Heston was more than just an actor. He was a phenomenon. For many, especially our generation, his image has become synonymous with courage, steadfastness, and a rare heroic spirit. He possessed a towering physique, a booming voice, and expressive eyes, all contributing to the legendary characters deeply etched into cinematic memory. Recall his role as Moses in the Ten Commandments. Heston didn't just act. He lived that role. From the majestic scene where he raises his staff to part the Red Sea to the moment he receives the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai, every gesture, every gaze radiated the gravitas of a prophet, a leader guiding his people from slavery to freedom. He embodied a symbol of hope and liberation, one who defied all dangers to fulfill his divine mission. Then came Ben-Hur. This role earned him a prestigious Academy Award for Best Actor and cemented his position as one of Hollywood's greatest stars. We can never forget the thrilling, breathtaking chariot race where Ben-Hur fought not just for victory, but for honor and revenge. But more profoundly, Heston conveyed Ben-Hur's internal journey from an unjustly wronged man consumed by hatred to one who found forgiveness and compassion. This was not just a story of a gladiator, but a story of a redeemed soul, or El Cid, the valiant Spanish knight. Heston vividly recreated the image of an invincible warrior, a man absolutely loyal to his king, and people willing to sacrifice everything for noble ideals. He brought forth an El Cid, who was not only physically powerful, but also spiritually resolute, an emblem of chivalry and honor. These roles shaped Heston in the audience's mind as a crusader on screen, always fighting for justice and noble values. But Heston's crusader image wasn't limited to films. It was also clearly evident in his personal life and social activism. In the 1960s, as the civil rights movement was in full swing, Heston didn't hesitate to side with those fighting for equality. He joined Martin Luther King Jr. and other prominent figures in the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, a historic event that changed America. His presence as a leading film star demonstrated his deep conviction in human rights and social justice. He used his voice and influence to support a righteous cause, proving himself to be a true crusader, not just through his roles, but through his beliefs. Later, he became the president of the National Rifle Association, NRA, a controversial role. With his famous quote, "I'll give you my gun when you pry it from my cold, dead hands," Heston became an icon for gun ownership rights under the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. While this stance might be divisive, it once again showed his unwavering resolve in defending what he believed was right, regardless of opposition. He believed that protecting this right was a crucial part of individual freedom, and he fought for it with all his might, once more affirming his crusader spirit, fighting relentlessly for his convictions. Charlton Heston lived a life defined by decisive choices, from his iconic roles to his strong political stances. He was a man of conviction and action, always ready to stand up for the values he cherished. Charlton Heston's hidden truths. Beyond his grand roles and public battles, the man Charlton Heston still held many facets largely unknown to the public. These hidden depths truly shaped the profundity of a legend, helping us understand the complex and multifaceted individual behind the stage's spotlight. Let's start with his childhood and the beginning of his career. Heston was born John Charles Carter in Evanston, Illinois in 1923. He grew up in a rural environment in Michigan. His childhood was far from glamorous. Instead, it was quite ordinary and somewhat lonely. His parents divorced when he was young, and he faced financial hardships. These early experiences forged his resilient will and self-reliance. His passion for acting was ignited when he was a teenager, as he participated in amateur school plays. It wasn't a path strewn with roses, but a persistent journey from small local stages to the grand dream of Hollywood. He had to take on various odd jobs and nameless minor roles to stay in the profession before getting his chance to truly shine. Behind his powerful exterior, Charlton Heston was a family man. His relationship with his wife, Lydia Clark, was a rare testament to enduring love and commitment in the seductive world of Hollywood. They married in 1944 and remained together for over 60 years until his passing. Lydia was not just his wife, but his life partner, his quiet supporter, and his greatest source of motivation. She was a talented photographer and often accompanied him to film sets. Their marriage was a beautiful story of faithfulness, understanding, and building a simple home far from the clamor of the entertainment industry. He always spoke of Lydia with deep respect and gratitude. In his illustrious career, Heston didn't always choose blockbuster roles. There were surprisingly many roles he turned down, and conversely, some lesser-known works held significant meaning. For instance, he once declined roles in Dirty Harry or A Fistful of Dollars films that later became classics and shaped the careers of other actors. The reasons were often busy schedules or not finding a connection with the character. Conversely, he participated in several smaller, more artistic films, or those with profound messages showing that he wasn't just seeking fame, but also wanted to challenge himself in various genres. These decisions reveal him as an artist with strong convictions, constantly seeking diversity in his acting. Behind the glamour, Charlton Heston was quite an introspective person with many unique personal interests. Although known for his stern demeanor, he possessed a subtle and sometimes self-deprecating sense of humor. He had a great love for art, particularly sculpture. He was also a talented amateur sculptor himself, finding peace and satisfaction in creating works from clay and stone. This is a little-known aspect, revealing a sensitive artistic soul hidden deep within the screen hero. He was also a passionate sports fan, especially basketball, and loved spending time in the countryside enjoying the peace of nature. Charlton Heston's life was not only about triumph and glory, but also a silent battle with personal struggles. In his later years, he faced a cruel challenge: Alzheimer's disease. This was heartbreaking news for fans worldwide. Instead of hiding it, Heston chose to publicly disclose his illness in 2002. This courageous act was not only a warning about a devastating disease, but also a call for increased awareness and support for those afflicted. He faced the decline in his memory and physical abilities with immense resilience, with the devoted care of his wife and family. His public battle inspired and motivated millions, proving he was a crusader, not only in fictional stories but also in his real life, fighting until his last breath. These truths reveal that Charlton Heston was not a flawless monument, but a flesh-and-blood human with experiences, choices, passions, and pains. It is these lesser-known aspects that made him more relatable and venerable to the public, shaping a multifaceted and profound legend. Charlton Heston's legacy and impact. Even though he has passed on, Charlton Heston's legacy lives on, not only in cinematic archives, but also in our cultural and societal consciousness. He left an indelible mark shaping how we perceive heroes, the fight for ideals, and the complexities of human nature itself. Charlton Heston's influence on cinema was immense. He wasn't just a talented actor, he was an icon of Hollywood's golden age. With his exceptional ability to embody diverse roles from historical and biblical figures to space explorers or post-apocalyptic survivors, Heston demonstrated remarkable versatility and flexibility in his acting. He possessed a majestic demeanor, a powerful ability to convey intense emotion, and a resonant voice, making every role vibrant and memorable. His films, especially The Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur, have become classics, frequently screened and still strongly captivating new generations of audiences. He helped define and elevate the epic genre to a new level, influencing countless subsequent works. However, Heston's political and social legacy is more complex and sometimes controversial. His role in the civil rights movement is a shining light, revealing a progressive and compassionate side of him. His public support for equal rights and participation in the historic March on Washington inspired many, proving he was not just a screen hero, but a real-life fighter for justice. This was a courageous act at a time when Hollywood was still quite cautious about political issues. Conversely, his later role as president of the National Rifle Association (NRA) sparked intense debate. With his firm stance on defending the Second Amendment right to bear arms, Heston became a leading voice for gun rights advocates, but also a target for critics. His famous quote, "From my cold dead hands," became an iconic slogan, yet also caused significant division in American society. Whether you agree with his views or not, there's no denying that Heston used his influence to resolutely defend what he believed in becoming a central figure in the gun debate in the U.S. From Charlton Heston's life, we can draw many valuable lessons. First is the steadfastness of conviction. Whether in his roles or in social struggles, he always stood firm in what he believed was right, despite pressure or opposition. This is an admirable quality, especially in a volatile world. Second is the importance of family and personal values. His enduring marriage and relatively private personal life showed that even at the pinnacle of fame, he prioritized family and personal happiness. Finally, how he faced illness is also a lesson in courage. Publicly disclosing his Alzheimer's diagnosis was not just a personal act, but a reminder of life's fragility and the importance of confronting challenges head-on. Charlton Heston was not a perfect man, but he was a great man who lived a full and meaningful life. He left us not only immortal films, but also a legacy of steadfastness, integrity, and an unyielding crusader spirit. When we look back at Charlton Heston's entire life and career, we realize that he was not only the great crusader on screen, but also a complex individual with many depths and lesser-known facets. From classic roles that defined a cinematic era, to courageous actions in the civil rights movement, and even controversial stances on gun ownership, Heston always stood up for the ideals he believed in. The untold truths about his humble childhood, enduring marriage, quiet personal passions, and his courageous battle with illness paint a more complete portrait of this man. They help us understand that behind the majestic appearance of a hero, there was a flesh-and-blood human with joys, sorrows, and challenges he bravely faced. Charlton Heston lived a full life, constantly striving and contributing. His legacy is not just his immortal films, but also a lesson in steadfastness, integrity, and an unyielding will to overcome. He will forever be an icon, a crusader, both literally and figuratively, who left an indelible mark on cinematic history and on the hearts of our generation. So looking back at Charlton Heston's legacy, what impresses you most about him? The screen hero or the resilient real-life activist? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. If you found this story interesting and want to continue exploring other fascinating stories about Hollywood or historical icons, don't forget to follow our channel.